Today we are going to be giving you our prediction for the Springbok 23 to face Ireland, and I have a very, very special guest all the way from Twickenham. It's Robbie.
Come on,
That's okay. Good on you, bro.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, no stress. Straight off the plane from Twickenham.
Quite literally straight off the plane. I landed yesterday at I think it was 2:30, but I went via Ethiopia and I had a 12-hour layover.
Oh no.
So it's straight off the plane, but yeah, no, very, very happy to be back.
Talk to me a little bit about the Prem final that you went to, Springboks Wales. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what we should expect in this Ireland selection now?
Yeah, Prem final was insane. Yeah. Saints versus Bath. I was hoping for Bath win, and they got that red card. Tough one, but they did so well with 14 men.
Yeah.
Incredible atmosphere, like the HQ Twickenham. There's a real romance around Twickenham. I find, like when I'd never been, so I walked. You get off a train, and there's probably a 5 to 10 minute walk, and people are just on the side of the road, bro. And it's like the roads are closed. There's a South African store there saying Boerie Rolls, sort of a piece of home.
Yeah.
And really cool. You get there. There's a statue. It's a real
the home of rugby.
The home of rugby, bro. So it was a real cool experience, and the crowd played very well. They're so unique. What I found was that they actually had chance. So like having the footy, they had chance and they had given it a real go. There's more Saints fans than Bath fans, so I was a bit outnumbered. But no, bro, what an experience! What a game as well. I think it was 21-24 or something. I'm probably wrong, but a couple of points in it, and Bath at the end nearly having to give it a go. So yeah, incredible. And then Springboks Wales was cool, but it was a nightmare because I think it's southwest London is full of South Africans, and that's near Twickenham. So there was more green than red, which was insane, and that crowd was friendlier, I found. So I was doing a couple of interviews, and I did interviews with the Prem final with the English guys. They were sort of a bit standoffish. They weren't too keen on, or didn't know who I was, weren't too keen on me. And the Bok fans in green shirts, that straight away there's a connection.
Yeah, that unity.
Which I think speaks, to what the Springboks do. But what an experience, so good, and what a privilege to watch the Boks play.
No, well, we're glad to have you back here in SA.
I'm so that being said, I absolutely love South Africa and Cape Town. I think it's the best place in the world.
So we obviously are going to speak a little bit about the Springbok Wales game. There's a couple of selections. Maybe some guys stay, maybe some guys get dropped for this Irish game. I think let's get straight into it, that prop position. We have 6 or 7 props. I'm just going to run through them, and then you're going to sort of speak to me about who you think is going to start. I'm going to tell you my starting lineup. We're going to get into the bench a bit later.
This is for Ireland.
Yes, Wales was last week.
Yeah, I forgot.
So we got Thomas du Toit, your boy from Bath.
Yeah.
We got Vincent Koch, Francois Herber, Ox, Trevor, Gerrit Steenkamp. So chat to me a little bit about these players. Who do you think is going to start? For me personally, I think Gerrit Steenkamp has had a great season for the Bulls. Do I think he's going to start against Ireland? Probably not.
I don't know, you're a Bulls fan, do you ever know? You're Bulls fan, it's like you're straight in and captain in.
Give him the armband.
Yeah. I think I need to quickly give credit to Thomas du Toit because that final he played was insane.
Yep.
Incredible. So he's been good, and they obviously had a good season, but I don't think Rassi's going to go anywhere. So it's going to be pretty. So it's going to be Ox. Am I going to go hooker as well?
Let's talk about front row then.
It's going to be Ox. I think they'll start Bongi ahead of Malcolm, and I think they'll go France.
So Ox, Bongi, France.
Yeah.
I think the only sort of discussion we need to have here is Malcolm Ox, Bongi and Bonambe. Now, obviously Malcolm hasn't played a lot of rugby. He got about 45 minutes.
45, 50, something like that.
Against Wales. That's the only rugby he's played since the World Cup. I think if he's fit, he probably starts, but I also do like Marks coming off the bench as sort of that impact player. I think he's a little bit more of an impact player than Bongi coming off the bench.
I found that what I saw at Twickenham, I thought maybe Marks needed a little bit more game time. Because as you say, it's the first game back since an ACL, which is flipping incredible to come back straight into international test. But I just thought maybe Bongi will be a little bit more game ready and game hardened and fresher. I think if you want to start well against Ireland, I think you need to have someone who's got minutes in him. So I think they'll go Bongi. But as we said, it's much of a muchness. It's like you're going to pick the 2 best hookers in the world.
Yeah. Well, is there an argument to say maybe Marks hasn't had enough rugby? Let's put Jan Grobler on the bench and maybe give him a run against Ireland.
There is an argument for that. There definitely is.
Again, he is a Bulls player.
Yeah, he is a Bulls player. But I think what I've realised over the last, Rassi era is that Rassi, I think, values time in camp and experience. So I think against, especially like it's 1v2 in the world, like I think he'll go, I don't think he's going to experiment much.
Okay. Okay, so we've sorted that
I
front
think so.
three.
Yeah, who you going for?
I was going to say the same. Ox, Bongi, France. I mean, we saw Vincent Cox start ahead of France Malherbe in that Wales test. It was his 50th cap. France just being a good
France,
sort of letting him out.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. Ox, Bongi, France. Okay, so front three sorted. We move into the locks, which I think is a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
We only have 4 locks to pick from. Irvin, probably the first guy you put on the team sheet.
Of course.
You got Salman Murat, Stormers over here. Sos and Archie Sneeman. Talk me through that selection there.
Sure. I obviously so Irvin starts, and then I think they'll go Franco, especially now that they've got BJ Dixon who can sit on the bench and play lock and 7. And then like for me, Archie is by far probably my favorite lock to watch.
Yeah.
But I think he'll come on with impact, so I think he'll be on that bench. So I think I'll go Irvin and Franco.
I 100% agree with you there. I've seen some predicted lineups putting Salman Murat and Archie Sneeman on the bench. Once we get there, we can have that discussion. But definitely the starting Irvin Etzebeth, Franco Mossad, I think that was a great combination.
Yeah, really good.
Against Wales. Now into the crux of the pack, and this is where it gets a little bit more techie, as they say in London. Pepsi Buthelezi, Ben Jason Dixon, Peter Steph du Toit, Siya Kolisi, Evan Royce, Kwagga Smith, Marco van Staden, Jasper Wiese is obviously in the squad, can't play this game because he is banned. Talk me through your trio over there, because there's an argument for every single player on that list.
Yeah, there is. I think that's probably the most tightly contested. A terrible place to be at the loose forward in South Africa. Like, think about the loose forwards that actually aren't in the squad.
Just as a Bulls fan, I just need to get this in there. Ulrich Loh.
Yeah.
Ulrich Loh. I mean, what more must the guy do?
I know. I feel for the dude because he was incredible. And I thought it was an obvious. I genuinely thought, like, when I thought Springboks squad, I'm like, okay. But look at the Bulls pack, I'd go like, Ulrich in definitely. A guy like Cam Hanekom, who was unfortunately injured in the final, he's got to be in the mix there off the top of my head. And I really thought Ulrich was going to be in.
It baffles me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. Maybe he's in the plans for the 2027 World Cup. We have to hope.
He's got to be. Got to be. Look, I mean, Siya Kolisi is going to be our captain and play 6. Yeah, that's been confirmed. Confirmed. They'll definitely go Peter Steph. Like you talk about first names on the team sheet. Like those two guys, probably Irvin and Peter Steph. And then I'm going to go. So Jasper's out. I think they're going to pick an out and out 8.
Your boy, surely.
My boy Irvin Roos. He's going to play. And I thought he had quite an incredible game against Wales. Some nice meters made his hits. I think he was everything that they'd look for in a block 8. And man, he's physical. Like I really commands a field. So,
but I think that's exactly what Rassie looks for in a number 8 for South Africa. A big physical ball carrier. I mean, you look at Dwayne Vermeulen, you look at Jasper Wiese, and I think that's maybe where Pepsi Buthelezi misses out in the Springbok side, just because I think that 8 mold in the Springbok team is made for that oak that is massive, that commands dominance. Kwagga Smith, Evan Roos, Kwagga Smith. There is an argument to start Kwagga. Obviously, Kwagga is quite a good utility forward, so maybe you're saving him for the bench.
I think it's difficult because I think Kwagga can start. He could. I just think Irvine might add a little bit more sort of physicality. He's bigger, if you get what I'm saying. He's bigger. Yeah, it's a difficult one, but I also think I think very similar, very like together they competed the same. But I think maybe Kwagga would add a little bit on the bench, as he's so versatile. And purely because the Springboks value that hybrid position now. I think they'll put Kwagga on the bench. I think they'll start Irvine, which will be a nice test for him.
I think you've been looking at my notes because I've also gone Siya Kolisi at 6, obviously. Peter Steph at 7, and then Roos at 8. I think a pack, I wouldn't want to be Ireland looking on the field and seeing that pack.
No.
Into the back line. Now, in the press conference yesterday, Rassie did say that they have to manage Faf de Klerk. He has picked up a little bit of a niggle, and when they asked him about the 4 scrum-offs in the squad, he said, well, we have 3 scrum-offs and then Faf has a niggle. So to me, that kind of says that Faf is a 50-50 call for this game against Ireland. I think let's think worst case scenario.
Okay.
Let's think, because I think if Faf is fit, he plays.
Yes.
So let's think worst case scenario. If Faf isn't fit, who are you going to go? Kobus Reinach, Morne van den Berg, or Grant Williams?
Wow. Okay, so not Morne, just because he's not going to debut against Ireland. that would be a sort of baptism of fire. And so it's between Grant and Kobus. 2 very similar players. Wow.
For me, you got to think Kobus Reinach was in the 2023 Rugby World Cup team. He's done it for the Springboks before. He obviously knows the systems. He's had a very, very good season over in France. Grant Williams, a little bit newer to the Springbok setup. Yes, there's an argument he can play 9, he can play 14, he can play 15.
Yeah.
But so can Quibus.
True. I think they'll go Quibus, but then I'm also like, they could go Grant. They could just go like, let's back Grant. He's like 27, 28. Let's back him over Quibus, who's maybe a little bit older. So I actually, this one for me, I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm going to make a call, but I am on the fence. I'm going to have to be pushed to one
You're
side.
going to be shouting from on the fence.
Yeah, I think I'll go with. I'll go Quibus. I think just go safe.
So this obviously is if Faf is injured. If he isn't injured,
Yeah, no, Faf plays if he's.
Okay, and then I would also go Quibus. Yes, you really have been looking at my notes there. Okay, fly off. And I mean, there is an obvious pick. I want to speak a little bit about last week.
Yeah.
Jordan Hendrick last week was sort of Rassie's wild card that he tried out.
Yeah.
I was of the opinion that maybe he should have given that chance to Sia Masuku. He didn't. Fair game. It is what it is. I think Jordan Hendrick didn't have a great game. In the press conference yesterday, Rassie said that it's because if you look at Sasha and you look at Jordan Hendrick, Sasha's come up through the Springbok system, junior box, under 20 box, like he's been all the way through. So when he steps on the field for the Springboks, he knows he's been there before.
Yeah.
It's not like something new. Where Jordan Hendrick hasn't necessarily had the same development in the youth system, which is probably why we saw a little bit of a baptism of fire. Rassie did give him his compliments, saying he was great on defense. He did create a lot of chances, but they just didn't come off.
Yeah.
I think fans are being a little bit harsh on Jordan Hendrick.
Of course, but it's Springbok fans are emotional fans.
Yeah.
Like Jordan didn't have a great, like he wasn't great, but I also think like his debut for the Springboks against Wales at Twickenham, I thought he did alright. I really don't think he was this, like, I've seen worse debuts, put it that way. I thought he was, like, he's such a big physical dude at 10. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go as far as to say that I actually think he was pretty decent for a guy, like you say, who's maybe not come through the ranks as much as a Sasha. But on your point about Sia Masuku, Jordan's gone through more of the system than Sia Masuku has. So I think, like, people are going, no, Sia must play. He will play. I think when last did Rassie pick a guy off the bat who's had one good season? Look at Marnie when he won the URC, when the Storms won the URC. He didn't get picked that year. Rassie was like, no, okay, we're going to slowly introduce you. And then 2 years later, he was in the BOK, or a year and a half later, he was in the World Cup squad. So it's like, he's going to get a go, but like I say, I think Rassie values time in camp. So let's see have some time in camp, because there's nothing worse to a player who's going to go straight into a Springbok mix, he's not don't know the system, and then go play against Ireland and have potentially, I mean, he could jaw, but potentially a bad game, and then it just kills his confidence, goes back to the Sharks, and he's back to zero or whatever.
I mean, Rassie did touch on Sia Masuku in the press conference yesterday. He literally just said what you said, is that he's new, he doesn't want to throw him out there too soon, but he did hint against Portugal we might throw in a couple of fly
You've got to duel again. He's got to play against Portugal for sure. But I think for fans maybe to go against Ireland is come on, like
we need to win both of those games.
Yeah.
Okay, so at 10, you can go Sasha. We've got Marnie in the squad. We've got Pollard in the squad. Pollard, true, tried, tested, 100% kick rate in the Rugby World Cup. Marnie, also, I feel like Jordan Hendricks is another example of Marnie LeBourg. Marnie can do so many things right, does one thing wrong, misses one kick, Oaks are on him.
Yeah.
Who are you going to go in that 10 position?
It's pretty straightforward to me. It's Hendrick Pollard. It's like, you can't go, so Sasha, actually, when I watched him come on, he plays with this incredible confidence. Like it was the most remarkable thing to watch, and his run on, he almost like commands a field, which is incredible for I think he's 21. I'll go Pollard, but I think we're gonna get to the bench. Okay. I'll say what I'm gonna say.
Okay, so Pollard at 10. So we got Quibus / Faf at 9. Pollard at 10. Centres. Now again, there's a lot to discuss here. Against Wales, Andre Esterhuizen started. JC Kriel played 13.
Yes.
Damien Delende came off the bench, which was a little bit weird to me. I think that was probably Rassie saying, we probably are going to play Damien against Ireland. Let's give him 20 minutes, but let's also test out Andre Esterhuizen again, give him some time. And now in the mix is Lukhanyo. So who's starting at 12? Who's starting at 13? There's an argument for every single player there. Obviously, Lukhanyo has been injured for a while, so again, do we throw him into the deep end against Ireland, or do we go true, tried and tested with JC Kriel?
I struggle to see them not go go Lindy and Kriel. I don't think, think about it, Kriel's now played how many test matches in a row? 13.
Yeah.
I think the whole World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, maybe like 1 or 2 games where they didn't play full strength, but in our big games, let's say the last 5 big games, Scotland, Ireland, the quarters, semis and finals, and then Wales, so call it 6 big internationals. JC's played at 13 and been really good.
Yeah.
Been really good, great decision making on defence. It seems like, it's not, his hands have been good, he's been reading the game. Well, I think they'll go JC, bro, and then, it's a dog's world out there, it's like Lucanio was the best from 2019 Lions series or whatever, and then unfortunately he got injured, and then JC's taken his opportunity, which same thing happened to JC, remember 2015 he was playing and then he got injured, and then
that's a doggy dog world.
It is, bro. So I think they'll go Damien and JC.
I 100% agree with
physical, big,
say it.
just big dudes.
Okay, Damien, Jesse. Okay, back 3 again. Damien Willemse out.
Yeah.
Massive loss for the Springboks. But sort of out of nowhere, and I'm not trying to say Willie Leroux hasn't been in form, but my goodness has he been playing some good rugby for the Bulls. I think he's the reason the Bulls probably lost the finals, because Willie Leroux wasn't playing. His game management, his kicking, he's just a veteran that keeps getting better and better. So I think let's start with fullback. Again, you can go Sasha. Apelele Fassi had a phenomenal game really against Wales.
He was really good, and wow. I think he got took 8 from 8 high balls or something ridiculous, and that yellow card was also that's a different conversation. But what's he meant to do? The Oaks ran into his foot. He hasn't kicked the guy's face. The guy's face is running into his foot. It's come on. And then I've also, obviously it's a trick in him, so I've heard that's a red card. It's not, but anyway. So Fassi was incredible. I was actually really impressed, because I actually hadn't watched a lot of the Sharks this year, I must be honest, but I know he had a good season. But to do that, and guys, Wales are good. To be fair, it didn't look that, but we struggled at parts.
That first half we suckled a bit.
But I'll go. You got to go Villy.
Well, let me throw something in here. Colby at 15.
I thought, I actually thought about that, but I don't think they'll. I don't think they'll do that. Just because I think we're going to try to play a little bit more expansive, and Villy maybe
offers that.
As a second 10. As a second 10. Chesn can do the job, but Villy. So he can do the job, and Villy will be doing that, I think.
So Villy at 15, I agree with you. Wings, Curtly Arendse, who had a surgery, put a plate into his cheekbone because he fractured it. Still played the URC final. Chesn Colby is back, he's cleared. Mpimpi and Edwil van der Merwe are both being managed. So there is a chance they're not ready. I think Rassie Erasmus, what I gathered from the press conference is that he is positive about it. Talk to me about the wings though, because Edwil van der Merwe, on debut, winning man of the match against Wales. Obviously we have Curtly and Cheslin, our 2 wings from the World Cup. Who are you playing? And then you got Mpimpi, who had a great game as well.
He really did. It's interesting. So they'll go Cheslin, definitely. Curtly's an interesting one for me, because like you said, he's just had surgery. And I don't know whether they'll go, let's rest you and play Edwil. No, they'll go Curtly. They'll go like I say, Rassie's not going to experiment here against Ireland. So I think they'll go Cheslin and Curtly.
Okay, I like that.
What do you think?
There is an argument for Edwil. He's probably brimming with confidence at the moment. Ireland are probably not expecting Edwil van der Merwe to run out there. Curtly in the final of the URC didn't look like the Curtly from the quarterfinals or the back end of the season. So there definitely is an argument for Edwil to start, and I think I would actually start Edwil ahead of Curtly, just because I think Curtly's still dealing with that injury, and that's obviously going to affect how you go into contact and go up for high balls. So for me, I would play Cheslin and I would play Edwil. I
also sort of swung that way, but I must be honest, I didn't watch the URC finals, so I didn't see Curtly.
It's a good thing you didn't.
Up Glasgow, no, I'm joking.
Get out.
It could work.
Okay, then we move into the bench. What's your split? Are we going nuke squad? Are we going bomb squad? Are we going 5-3? I think, for me personally, I would go 6-2. I think that's the Springboks mold at the moment, especially with the big forwards, especially with the props and locks and loosies that we have. So talk me through, first of all, your split, and then let's get into the 2 props and hooker that you're going to have on the bench.
I think they'll go 6-2. Wow, you're actually right.
Don't tell me you're thinking it was 7-1 here.
I am, but purely. Oh, no, I'm not. Am I? I don't know.
With Sasha on the bench,
That's the thing.
You could go 7-1, but then you obviously have to include Kwagga, and Kwagga could, if need be, play wing.
Exactly. So I just think we're gonna need fresh forwards. I think, like, especially at Loftus at altitude, right? We're gonna need.
Well, apparently altitude doesn't mean anything.
Glasgow, cheers for that. I think we're going to need a fresh pack.
Say it, Robbie. Say it.
I don't want to.
Do it.
Okay, let me just I need to figure it out though, because if we're going to play Quibus at 9,
you actually can go 7-1 if Quibus starts as well, because that gives you another person that can move around.
Yeah.
The only problem is if Quibus gets injured, then Shezin can move to 9.
Yes. Shall I be bold?
Be bold, man. Rassi, if you're listening.
I'm going to be bold. I'm going to go 7-1.
7-1, okay. So let's tackle the props and the hookers. You've started Ox, France, and Bongi.
Yeah.
Bench, Marks,
Malcolm, Vincent, and Trevor. Yeah.
Trevor above Thomas, the toy. Because remember, Thomas.
They both play lucid and tight. Oh, you know what? They might go Thomas.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
They might go Thomas because he's had a really good season. I think they'll go Thomas.
I also think so.
Yeah, cheers. Okay, yeah, so Marks, Thomas and Vincent. Yeah, what do you think? I don't know.
That's who I would go. That's exactly who I would go. I think Trevor, although he brings the experience, I think you can't deny how good Thomas the Toy has been for Bath.
Yeah.
You can't deny how good Vincent Koch is. And both of them can scrum on either side.
Yeah, but I think they'll do that.
Sold.
Just purely because of how well he did. I watched him in the final. I was like, this guy's he put in a shift.
Okay, so if we're going 7-1, I'll come along for the ride.
Okay.
We're going to have to go 2 locks.
Yeah.
So the only 2 locks available, Salman Murat and Archie Snyman.
Or they could go Archie and
3 Lucy's.
And Ben Jason. That takes us to how many is that now? 5. And then they can go Kwagga and Marco van Staden.
Yes.
Because Kwagga could, I think they'll, 2 very similar players.
But you're covering all positions. BJ can play
7 and lock.
Peter Steph can play 7 and lock.
Yeah.
Sos can play lock and flank.
Yeah. Archie.
You actually are talking me into the 7-1.
Really? That's a strong bench.
Okay, so Thomas the Toy, Vincent Koch, Malcolm Marks.
Yes.
Archie Snyman, Ben Jason Dixon.
Yes.
Kwagga Smith, Marco van Staden.
Yes. So I'm just trying to think. I think that's.
So Salman Murat and Pepsi Buthelezi miss out.
Yes, only because Salman only misses out because BJ can play 7 as well.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to look for their versatility, especially if they're going
7-1.
7-1.
And I think it probably is good to go 7-1 at Loftus, high altitude, really batter them in that first test.
Yeah.
Then you can go down to Durban and play the 6-2 and beat them out wide.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to go 6-2, but I'll go 7-1 with you, and I fully agree with your decisions there, which means there's only one man left for the back line. I think there's only one choice here.
Yeah. Sasha, Feinberg and Gomazulu at 23.
Yeah.
And then also, so he covers 10, 12, 15.
He can slot
He's probably one about them. I'll put it out there and say probably South Africa's most talented rugby player at the moment.
Only because Damien Willems is injured.
Yeah, very similar. But just for his age, it's remarkable.
Okay, no, but that seems like a very, very strong 23-man line. I think we agreed on almost every position there, except for Edward, although Swage on the Edward.
Edward. I also like Edward's cool. Edward, I love that.
Okay. So that's our 23-man side to face Ireland. Obviously, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Prediction, while I have you here for the first test.
Ooh, okay, that's tough. I mean, I've been giving it the big one for the box for the last sort of on my social media. I have been. I think the box will win. I think I'm gonna go 8 points. So the thing is, so Ireland without Gibson Park is a different beast.
Yeah.
So Ireland with Gibson Park's a different beast. I think box will win. I'm gonna go box by 5. It's not gonna be high. It's not gonna be very high scoring. It's probably gonna be, maybe like 23-18.
I think we're absolutely gonna drill them in the first test.
You think?
I think 10 points or more.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna say. 10 points or more. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. If you haven't, go follow the Soak on Instagram, TikTok. Robbie Gillette will be tagged in the description. If you haven't, please mur that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.
Cheers.
Peace.